One more piece of advice, man. I said that voting is like being a fan and cheering from the sideline. Being a politician is being on the field of play. But you know what that crossover move is while you on that court? Or that mean spin move? Because it's two levels. It's three levels to this. One is voting. The next is being involved. And after getting involved, see, here's the reason why. Let me tell you, I'm gonna mess you up. We got a lot of black folks in politics. But why we don't feel like we getting what we want, even though we have us in there? Let me tell you something. Robert's Rules of Order is the rules of debate. And I took a mock conference, a mock Organization of African Unity conference in DC at Howard University. And while there, other students came for a mock UN conference at the same time. Same thing. The idea is that you pose as a delegate of a country or state, and you're on a committee, and you all come together on these committees to fix issues, to come up with resolutions for problems, right? And in those meetings is where the show go down. And I remember a dynamic when we got there. We were Pan-African Studies students. Every 50 colleges brought students there, and they brought them from different departments. But what I noticed was we had trouble with students from, let's say, UPenn. UPenn brought students from their political science department. And every time those conferences got going, we would have problems with them political science students because they knew Robert's Rules of Order, Robert's Rules of Debate better than we did. We came in there Afrocentric minded. They came in there politically science minded. And every time we started off, we would struggle with them on that. And because we didn't even know Robert's Rules of Order. We was learning it on the fly. We didn't even know what point of inquiry meant, let alone how to control a room with those things. And so that's what kind of woke me up to something. So you don't know how well your favorite politician knows Robert's Rules of Order. He could be in that room getting his butt kicked. It doesn't matter that there's a black face that's a politician, that's a representative in the House, in the Senate. You don't know how well they know Robert's Rules of Order and how they might be getting it's evident that a lot of them getting kicked in them rooms, because that's what happened to us in the conferences in the beginning. But here's the thing. There's another thing they taught you. The real problems get solved after 5 o'clock over a martini. Because after 5 o'clock, when those conferences end and those politicians go home, they go to the bar first. And they get a drink and they sit down and they talk. But instead of it being 50 delegates or something like that, they talking to a few. It's me. I'm Uganda. I'm talking to Rwanda and Zimbabwe. I done pulled them to the side. We having a drink and we talking. They agree with me. I agree with them. So the next day when we go into this room, we got each other's back. And we going to help each other's resolutions get through and get passed. Now think about this. This was mock. Now, if you are a black politician in America, think about this. We was in an OAU conference. Mind you, we was all African countries. We all had similar ideologies at this point. And even though we may have been countries that bordered each other or not bordered each other, a part of ECOWAS or not ECOWAS, after 5 o'clock, we got to really put all that stuff down and just talk. Now, in American politics, as a black politician, how well do you think we can work in 9 to 5 in them conferences and after 5 o'clock over the martini? How well do you think we able to work? We was able to do what we was able to do because, this is a mock conference with all African delegates. But if you a black politician, man, you outnumbered by a whole gang of white politicians. So, and you might have your mind in the conference and they got their mind. And if they know Robert's Rules of Order better than you do, their mind is going to prevail in that office, in that committee. And their resolutions is getting passed and brought up and voted on. So that's how this works. Robert's Rules of Order is the key here. Is the key to knowing to controlling the narrative. Like, that's the real being on the court with the crossover or with the wicked spin move. Outside of that, you are a player on the team and or a fan in the audience. So I would say that's why we probably feel like, even though we're participants in this whole thing, why we may feel like we ain't doing as good or getting as much as we want. Because at the end of the day, man, it's about that debate. It's about getting stuff passed. It's about getting, first of all, before getting it passed, it's about even getting it brought up as relevant and important. It has to go to vote to even be put on the table to talk about. And that is done by Robert's Rules of Order. Think about that. Before we're not talking about funding a project. We're talking about just bringing it up. Can we talk about a brother's problem? That got to go to vote. So y'all listen here. That's what takes so long. And that's why we need to train our babies to get more involved in politics on the local and state level and teach them that Robert's Rules of Order. I'm out.